We've all been there, right? You have this great project plan, everyone's excited, and then somehow it all goes over budget and past the deadline. Well, today we're going to dig into how you can stop that from happening. We're talking about how to actually turn those brilliant plans of yours into a successful reality.
So, to get started, let's talk about the big one. The question that I'm pretty sure everyone who's ever tried to manage anything has asked themselves at some point.
I mean, it's the classic project management nightmare, isn't it? You start out with such a solid plan, you're full of optimism, and then bam, somehow you're playing catch up and the money's running out. So, what is going on here? Figuring out the why is absolutely the first step to fixing it. And the fix, well, it starts way earlier than you might think. A project's success or failure can often be traced right back to its very first meeting. This is where you lay the entire foundation.
Look, a great kickoff meeting isn't just about saying hello. Think of it more like a mission briefing. This is your chance to get the whole team fired up and aligned on the vision. But just as important, it's where you hash out the rules of the game. You know, how are we going to talk to each other? Who gets the final say on big decisions? Nailing this down from day one means everyone starts the journey on the same page, with the exact same map in their hands.
Okay, so you're off to a great start. Now what? Well, every project needs a pulse, a steady rhythm that keeps it alive and healthy. And that brings us to the core cycle that drives everything forward. This little loop right here, this is the engine of your whole project. See, it's not about creating one perfect plan and just sticking to it no matter what. No way. It's a constant cycle. You plan the work, you monitor how you're doing against that plan, and then you control the outcome by making smart adjustments. And then you do it all over again. Now, a really common tool for monitoring is something called the S-curve. It basically just shows how much money you plan to spend over time. But, and this is a big but, it has a massive blind spot. It can tell you, hey, you've spent 50% of your budget, but it has no idea if you've actually done 50% of the work, or if you've only done 10%. It gets being busy totally confused with being productive. So to fix that S-curve problem, we need a real project dashboard, something that tells us the whole story at a glance. And this is where this incredibly powerful technique called Earned Value Management, or EVM, comes into play. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? If you've spent half your money, have you done half the work? Or did you just spend a ton of cash to get 20% of the way there? The S-curve can't tell you. We need a way to link up cost, time, and what we've actually accomplished. Our dashboard has 3 key numbers. First up is planned value, or PV. This is super simple. It's the budgeted cost of the work you planned to have finished by now. Let's use an analogy. Think of it as your GPS route. By lunchtime, your GPS says you should have driven 100 miles. That's your planned value. Second, we have actual cost, or AC. This one's easy too. It's just the real amount of money you've actually spent so far. In our road trip, this is how much you've actually paid for gas and tolls. Simple enough? And now for the real game changer, earned value, or EV. This is the secret ingredient. It's the value of the work you have actually finished, measured by the original budget. So back to our road trip. You check the map. You've only traveled 80 miles, not the 100 you planned. That 80 miles is your earned value. Suddenly, you can see the true picture. Now, putting this into practice might sound a little intimidating, but it's really just a logical 5-step process. You start by breaking down the project and giving each piece a budget. Then you schedule it all out. That schedule gives you your planned value over time. As you work, you just keep track of your actual costs, and that sets you up for the final, most important step, calculating the numbers that tell you exactly how you're doing. And this is the beauty of the dashboard. With 2 very simple calculations, you get instant clarity. The cost variance tells you if you're over or under budget. The schedule variance tells you if you're ahead or behind schedule. And the best part, all you have to remember is this. If the number is negative, it's bad. That's it. In an instant, you know the health of your project on both money and time. It's that simple. Okay, so having a great dashboard is awesome. But what happens when things, go wrong? Because let's be real, no project plan survives contact with reality. Change is going to happen, so a good system has to help us deal with it. And I mean, change can pop up from anywhere. Sometimes it's big external stuff. Other times it's your customer changing their mind, or maybe your team finds a much better way of doing something. And then, of course, there's the dreaded scope creep, where tiny little additions slowly sink the whole ship. The point isn't to be afraid of change, it's to have a process ready for it. So when things inevitably go sideways, you don't need to panic, you just follow a process. An approach like this takes all the emotion out of it. It forces you and your team to actually agree on what the problem is first, then dig for the real cause and brainstorm options before you jump to a solution. And critically, you always check back to make sure your fix actually worked. And that really is the heart of it, isn't it? Successful project management isn't about having some magical, perfect plan that never changes. It's about building a system that's strong enough to track reality, to spot when things go off track, and to help you solve the problems that are, frankly, a totally normal part of making progress. So I'll leave you with this thought. What's the most important project you're working on in your own life right now? Maybe it's a career goal or a fitness plan or saving up for a house. Now ask yourself, are you just tracking the time and money you're pouring in, or are you tracking the value you've actually earned along the way? Because building that personal dashboard, well, that might be the most valuable project you start all year.